Hey there, tell me if this has happened to you. You're going on a family vacation, you're going to be away from your studio for a while, it's supposed to be peaceful and relaxing, but you get there and you're bored. You'd rather be in your sewing studio. What should you do? I'm going to tell you today about taking POTS or projects on the side on holiday. All right, part one. What is a pot, right? Well, it's another way of saying a work in progress or an unfinished object. I'm calling it my project on the side. It's a whole event that's happening with the Quilt Designers Collective. Head over to Instagram, I'll put a link down there, and you can kind of catch up and see what we're talking about. But today, we're going to be talking about taking your projects on holiday with you. Now, what does that look like? Well, the point is not necessarily to start a brand new project, right? That would be easy. What we want to do is take something that's kind of been neglected for a little bit and give it some love and try and finish it, right? Or at least work on it. Try and get it off of our brain a little bit. Now, what does this kind of look like? Now, what kind of projects are you really wanting to focus on your holiday? Now, this is my kind of go-to, right? Is some nice English paper piecing and a tote box, right? This fits nicely in the car, in my lap. All I have to do is open it up. I have all of my pieces here, and the trays pop out really nice if I need it, right? I've got everything I need. I've got some extra half square triangles if I want to do some hand sewing together for borders. I even have some units already made up, right? And what's in this box? Well, we have our thread, we have our little snip snips. If you're taking this to the airport, make sure to have small snip snips. That way you don't have really nice, like, fancy scissors that you absolutely adore and that you have to leave at the airport and it breaks your heart, right? And then you're going to want to make sure that if you're doing hand sewing like this, to bring a little pin cushion with different size needles. For me, I do basting with a larger, thicker needle, and then the hand sewing is a nice thin needle. So we'll cover that in another topic about English paper piecing. Today we're talking about traveling. Well, Sandrasa, what if I don't have a box, you're asking? And what if I don't want to go buy a box? This is just an impromptu, I'm flying out for a girls' weekend and I need something in the airport. Don't want to go buy any boxes or dump any other projects. You don't have to use a box. You can use a handy dandy Ziploc bag, right? So this project here, I have been prepping for a while, and you can see it's just basically glued on English paper piecing, right? I just took a jelly roll, just cut it up, it's ready to go. You can do this nights, when you're not working on anything else and you just want to have something prepped and ready to go. Know when you're doing this that pieces are going to fall off. Make sure you pack a glue stick so you can just, boop, easy peasy. Now, what are you going to need in your baggie? Well, I always make sure to have my thread and some snip snips, right? These ones are still small enough so if I'm going through the airport, I don't have to worry about it. I stick it in there so it's not going to puncture any holes. Toss it in. Well, Sandrasa, I don't necessarily want to just take one thread. What am I going to do? Use a donut bobbin holder, right? You can see I've got this beautiful rainbow of colors. They all coat and match with all these. So if I want to be more select about my threads, I've got it all here. It doesn't matter if you're going on a retreat or if you're doing a quick project like this. I always suggest having one of these donuts, whether you put it just with a bunch of white bobbins or with your rainbow menagerie of colors. These are a must if you're going on a trip. Now those are some great examples of things that are easy to hand sew, and I know a lot of you can't hand sew, whether you're like me and you have carpal tunnel and it's just painful, or maybe you're just not interested in doing English paper piecing. That's all right. I'm not here to judge you. If you are looking for a different kind of project, and remember, we're focusing on POTS, projects on the side, right? I want to take a project that is almost done and that I can travel with. What about quilting? Now, I know, unless you're going on a retreat and you have your sewing machine, quilting isn't really something you can do, you know, free motion and all that. But think about hand quilting. If you've never done it before, don't stress out. It's okay. I personally, I'm not very good at it, but I do enjoy the slow stitching process. My suggestion is go to your local Salvo and look for one of these big quilting hoops, right? There are a lot of quilters who are retiring, who don't have anyone to pass on their projects to or their equipment, and Salvation Army or Goodwill are pretty good places to check for these kinds of things. Because brand new, this is going to go for at least $80 without a stand, right? So check out, and let's look at a couple projects that we can use in that hoop. Now, I've shown you this beautiful hoop, right? It's pretty big when you actually get to look on a normal mat. It's a big boy, right? Well, what kind of projects do you want to take? So this one, now remember, these are pots. Don't judge me. This has been sitting on the side for a little bit, and it might be a little stained, right? We're a judge-free zone here, okay? But I've been working on this particular quilt for a while. Yeah, you can see that I have it all marked out already, right, with my friction pin, so when I take heat to it, it'll go away. And then you can also see I have decided to use some big stitch thread, like this one here, from Inked by Lynn I can't pronounce it, I'm not going to butcher it, from Red Rooster, okay? You can see the colors go perfectly with this Allison glass fabric, and it really is satisfying. I wish I had more time and more patience to sit down and do this, because I really love, you can see I've done big stitch in here after hand sewing and appliquing all of the English paper piecing down. It's a really enjoyable project. This is a project on the side, right? It's a POTS. I need to get it done. So next time I go to the park or go on a trip or airport or whatever, I'm going to pack this in one of my tote bags and I'm going to work on it. You can hold me to that. Another project that maybe you're not far along, right? Here's a project that I have had on the side for a while. I made a dress for my daughter. She's now 11. I made it when she was like 4, right, out of this material. So you can see how long this project's been on the side. I have everything appliqued down, and I've even gone with my friction pins and marked things out. I've even started quilting, the hand quilting, just a little bit. This would be a perfect project for me to take with me, a project on the side that can be completed and off of my mind. Whether I end up cutting it down for a pillow or using it as a wall hanging in our room, right? Or even just giving it to my niece. Get it done, get it off your brain, you're going to feel better, right? And don't think that I have forgotten you who have, you know, all of my crafty people who aren't quilty, right? Here's some amigurumi, right, that I've started. Look at this little this little box is just perfect. And I have all of the pieces already ready to go. They've already been crocheted and stuffed even, right? All I have to do is hand sew all of that in. So I can just stuff my thread and my snips and all that kind of stuff and be able to form my cute little amigurumi and maybe have a Christmas present for my nephew next year, right? Who knows? Okay, one last thing that I want to cover before we wrap everything up is how are you taking your pots with you, right? We've looked at an example with a little tote box. You can get big boxes, small boxes. You saw a little tin that we've used for the amigurumi. But let me show you a couple other things that you can use, whether you're going on retreat or a quick holiday, right? So if you're going on a retreat, I highly suggest taking an ironing bag, right? You can stuff your power cords in here. You can stuff your extra little notions and things that don't necessarily fit in your bags. This is a good bag to have. You also can have these bigger project bags. So this bag, you can kind of see, has some English paper piecing on it. I was using this extensively with my Tipsy Tea project, right? I love these kinds of bags. They have all the kinds of pockets that I need, and they have different sizes, right? This one's a smaller one, easy peasy, has spots for, you can see I have some bags in here from my last project. Some thread spots, parts for your snips and your thread and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to leave a link down in the description if you're interested in checking out these bags. If you have any long-term projects, I highly suggest getting one of these kinds of bags, whether it's this specific brand or another, make sure you're storing your projects where you can see them. And if you take the time to actually decorate a bag like this, you're going to want to have it where you can see it all the time. It's going to make you feel good and you're going to think about this project, right? You're going to want to work on this project. So that's something to think about. Last thing, I have made you a handy dandy checklist, right? This is a little freebie I've made you. Again, link in description, all the things down in the description, okay? It is going to be a nice checklist for whether you're going on retreat or holiday. I have places for your sewing machine, for your feet and your tools, ironing board, rotary cutters, and then essentials. You know, do you need a pattern? Do you need a ruler? Do you need to have your thimbles and your needle case and yada, 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 right? I'm not going to go through the whole list. This is a great little task because I forget. If I don't have a list, I'm going to forget something. And then I'm going to be where I need to be, and all of a sudden, maybe I forgot my thread. I didn't listen to my own instructions, and I forgot my bobbin little donut. It's going to stink, because then I can't work on anything, and I'm just going to feel really guilty, and yeah. So check out the list, check out all that kind of thing. Get your pots, get your projects on the side, up and out, right? Work on it, and enjoy, right? Happy stitching, Quilty Crew.